Hey there, seekers of spiritual, tangible results.
Welcome to the no-nonsense zone, where common sense meets the spiritual. I'm Jason Parks.
I'm Emma Romano, your unapologetically real spiritual guides.
We don't sugarcoat, we don't dance around the woo-woo, we just deliver the raw, kick-ass truth.
Join us each episode as we dive deep into the mystical, cut through the bullshit, and show you how to manifest the tangible results you've been craving for.
No fluff, no filters, just two mentors on a mission to elevate your mind, body and soul.
Get ready to transform your life like never before. This is Soul Aligned Results, where spirituality meets the real world.
Welcome to Soul Aligned Results. I'm Jason Parks, applied spirituality mentor, and with me, as always, is international trauma and relationship expert, the amazing.
Hi guys, it's so nice to see you on here today. We got a big one. So a couple of weeks ago, I was training relationship sovereignty and family and group dynamics. Jason came along to help me out as well. He was in there. It was 7 days. It's practitioner training. But I'm going to be honest, a lot of people come who are not practitioners. They're coming for the real juice, the real recipe book to living a great life in any relationship. So relationship sovereignty is about relationship with self, relationship with past, a partner, kids, everything. Anyway, one of the amazing women in there, she's an incredible woman. She said to me, I would love you and Jason do a podcast on mum guilt. I was like, sure. Do you want to start, Jason, or do you want me to go for it?
Oh, I think you go for it. I'm gonna put a bit of dad guilt in as well, but
Yeah. It's parent guilt, right? It's mum and dad guilt. So here we go. We can only feel guilty about something that we know it is innately not right.
That's a very important distinction, that one.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we say to our kid, if our kid goes, I want McDonald's, I want them, and we go, not you do, lady mate, right? Absolutely not. Why can't you get me McDonald's? Why? Because I want you to live. Suck it up, get over it. We will not feel guilty about that. But we may feel guilty about constantly saying no.
Yeah.
So we can have this mum and dad guilt about no. And it's something we want to catch ourselves in. Are you a typical yes parent or a typical no parent? Because both will get you into trouble. Because what's happening is that parent is running on, well, it's just a habit rather than being present with a child.
Yeah.
And when we're not present with a child and we've answered them, it is that we will feel guilt around, not necessarily what we've said yes or no to, but it's the fact that we weren't present with that child and we're on automatic. And why we feel guilt is because we can innately see it in our child's eyes and feel it from our child's energy field.
Yeah.
That's what we're feeling guilt by. So guilt can be a really great indicator of how present we're being in our relationship with our children, with anyone really. This is not just about mum and dad guilt. This is just about human guilt, I'm guessing, with other humans.
Yeah.
And I think I feel the most important thing that we all need to go into is presence. And we're not present. We sit there and we're thinking about the past. We're thinking about the future. We're thinking about what are we going to do for dinner tonight? Is the house clean enough? Is the homework done? We're thinking about this irrelevant crap instead of actually being present right there with our child. It's so interesting. So having guilt, there's two kinds of guilt that I feel. There's moral guilt, which goes, it's an indicator that I'm shitting stuff up, right? It's a moral indicator. And then there's this, I call it stupid guilt. So there's moral guilt and stupid guilt. Stupid guilt is that guilt where we've learned a lesson, seen where we've gone wrong, but we just wallow in it and don't change it.
It's an interesting thing. Let's pull that apart for a minute, because the moral guilt's really important because it allows us to function within our culture. And people miss that. It's interesting. I remember years ago, I looked for a definition of health. And the World Health Organization's got a very clear definition of physical health. But when you go to do one about mental health, there's nothing. There's no definition for sanity. And the reason I don't have one is because cultures can be fundamentally insane.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being mentally ill means that you really cannot function properly within the cultural paradigm in which you live. So
Mm-hmm.
that is one of the key components of it. So it's not the totality, but it's one of the key components. But moral guilt is an important part of that. So there's a famous story about Eric the Red, who was a famous Viking. And when he was 5, somebody stole a toy that he was playing with. So he went over, picked up one of the adults' weapons, an axe, and he split this kid's head open. And
Wow.
of course, he was dragged up in front of the chief for a judgment that was like what he did. And the chief looked at it and said, "What was the story?" He was playing with a toy. This older guy bullied him. He got an axe, split this guy's head open, killed him. He said, "Yeah, not a problem." He said, "We're Vikings and nobody takes our shit." So he acted in an appropriate way for
Wow.
what was expected of him. And he went on to be a famous king in the
Yeah.
Viking culture,
Right.
right? But it was just like, this is a cultural paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
So moral guilt is tied into that. It's like, is that what do I consider to be normal and right and just within the world I live with? So I won't go out and shoot people in the face because that's bad.
Yeah.
Society tells me so.
Mm.
But there's other cultures where society says that's exactly what you do. And we need to understand that that is being informed externally. Morals are externally applied. Shame and is internally applied. And that's a different ball game. So that thing where you talk about that stupid guilt, so you're excellent, like, absolutely excellent in your understanding of that difference about shame. So can you unpack a little bit about shame and guilt?
For
What's the
me,
difference?
for me, the way I explain it, the easiest way, for me, this is for me, guilt is about a behavior, shame is who I am,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
right? So guilt
Yeah,
is I feel bad that I've said no to my son, or I feel bad that I gave them the wrong Vegemite sandwich today, right? Whatever it might be. Shame is I am such a bad mother.
yeah,
That's the shame. Shame is like our internal saber-toothed tiger, which means it's our enemy. We are not meant to feel shame about ourselves because we're going against literally how God made us or the source of all creation made us in their light. So if I'm saying I am anything less than good, I am creating danger within myself. And then what will happen is when you're in any kind of danger, internal or external, the body reacts in a trauma response to let you know, oi, run, or fight, or freeze, or you better people please this mofo, right? So they're the sort of the 4 major ones. And then there's other ones after that. There's frenzy, your one is flop, I
yeah,
say
yeah,
get sick. But they're your 4 majors. And they're the ones that everybody's kind of heard of, especially fight, flight, freeze. Not many people hear about people please, but that's the 40. And then after that, what my theory is, you feel ashamed, you go into a trauma state, and that's the trauma state is your behavior from an internal conflict. What's the internal conflict? Shame. I am shit, right? I am shit. Not I've done something shit, that's guilt.
yeah,
If I've done something that's shitty, that's guilt. If I am shitty, that's shame. Now I go into a trauma response. By the way, I think most people's ADHD is a trauma state, a trauma response to shame. So instead of dealing with ADHD symptoms, everybody out there, I would start learning to love yourself. Stop shaming yourself.
yeah. The shame thing. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating that the effect it has because it's about identity. Like
And then we
when
go
we're
agreement after that trauma, that we then go into an agreement with a frequency,
yeah, that's
right?
right.
And it's the frequency we want to look at. Because if I'm crap, oh no, now I want to people please. So say Jason and I are having a conversation and I feel less than Jason. right? Now, Jason hasn't made me feel less than him. I've decided I'm less than Jason. So what does that mean? I'm less than, which means the shame is I am less than. That's
Yeah.
the shame. So now I'll go into trauma state. And now if a trauma state of mine is to fight, I'll start arguing with Jason, and Jason will be like, I have no idea what she's arguing with me for. We're talking about, well, I don't get it. Or I'll go into massive people pleasing. Hey, do you want me to pick the kids up next week? I'll even make dinner for the full family. And he's like, sure.
Yeah, you know I live in Tasmania, right?
Yeah, I know, right? You go, that's weird, but sure, if you want to come around and cook dinner for the four of us, feed the dog and the cat, I'm fine with it. And then because it's on an agreement from negativity, I can only now look at Jason and go, that asshole, he wants me to feed his family of four and feed his cat and his dog.
That's right.
What's happened is I'm in an agreement with a certain frequency. So this is where I bring in the guilt.
Yeah.
Guilt is just supporting the character of the I am shitty. That's all guilt is, because now I will perform acts, I will behave according to my shame.
Yeah.
And then I feel guilt because that's what I'm doing, that's my behavior. So it's just a spiral. It's literally, if you had it on a radio station or a TV program of, say the TV's crap, Channel 9 crap TV, yeah? And it's just shame, guilt, depression, anxiety, it's all there. What we need to do is come out and go, I see what I was doing there. And the thing is this, if you want to avoid parent guilt, stop answering straight away. Stop reacting to your children. Take a breather and go, I'll come back to you.
Yep.
Regulate yourself. I heard something really interesting the other day, and it's really, I really love it. We all know it, but it was just so simplified. Kids will never treat themselves the way we treated them. They will only treat themselves as an adult the way we treat ourselves.
Do you know, it's interesting that I got sent a little article this morning, and it was talking about entanglement. And one of the things that was really interesting was talking about a precision watchmaker. And that work is like a surgeon, you don't move your hands like a rock, so precise. But this guy was saying in an interview that some days when he's working, his index finger will start shaking, and it'll shake that much that he can't work. So he just picks the phone up and he rings his mum and he says, hey, can you stop worrying? I can't work under these conditions. And then and she has a change of mental state and away she goes. So it's fascinating. Like we've been talking, we've been talking about the guilt, the shame, and so forth. So how about we swing it into what people can do about it? Because I think everybody who's listening to this probably got some level of, I understand that really well.
Yeah.
I've never met an adult that wasn't narcissistic, that didn't have that, because parenting's hard,
That's so hard, especially when you're parenting from the energy of wanting other people to give you a pat on the back for your parenting. So probably an easier way of saying that is it's really hard to parent when you feel you're being judged by everyone around you. And I'm going to tell you something, you are.
Yeah.
But it's up to you whether you want to go, I'm going to buy into it, or I'm going to parent my child the way that my child needs parenting.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that Jason and his wife Karen did very well, and something that me and my husband Anthony did very well. We started parenting our kids the way our kids needed parenting, not the way that our cultural paradigm thought that our kids needed parenting.
Yeah.
And our kids have flourished. Believe me, the first probably 9 to 10 years of my boy's life, I did it the way everybody wanted me to do it, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Especially with my youngest son, Ben. Ben was born, 3.5 months premature. How can I parent that child like everybody else? And also, how can we parent our children the same way our parents parented us? It's impossible. They didn't have Wi-Fi.
that was not a problem
That was
when
not
we
a,
were growing up. Yeah.
I mean, we are the new generation of parents for a new generation, really new. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember being yelled at to come inside. And then I remember yelling at my kids, going, get outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Completely different. So I think when we're going into aligned parenting, and what I mean by aligned parenting, parenting out of love and boundaries and making sure that we are supporting our kids and creating really great mini adults. You're not going to get it right all the time, and you're not meant to. Because haven't you found that you'll have a week, you go, I'm nailing it. Oh my God, I've got it. And then the little buggers change on you again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You go,
That's just
oh
before
my
you
God.
face plant into it, isn't it?
Yeah. And it was such a lovely week. Like it was a really good, it was a real, hold on to those moments, people. But you got to understand, we're not here to mold these children into what we need for us to feel good about ourselves.
Yeah.
We're there to support, and we are there to align them with their greater selves. And it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig because somebody said to me years ago, and I really wish I'd remembered it. And it's something I ask myself all the time. I was 44. So it was the year that I was healing through the whole MS stuff and everything. And someone said to me, or I read it, can't remember. They said, do you want Jack to feel like you do at the age you are now? And I went, no. And they said, well, too late. Because at 44, he will behave exactly the way you're behaving about yourself. I hated myself at 44.
Yeah.
I lived in a pool of shame at 44.
Yeah.
You know, I was alcoholic, I was drinking, I was doing everything for everyone. I was a chronic people pleaser. Chronic mean long term. I was wearing so many masks. I didn't even know if I liked coffee, but I drank it if somebody else did. I didn't even know how I liked my eggs. So did I want my son to have? No. And then did I want my son to have that same relationship that Anthony and I had back then? No, absolutely not. That's what made me change. So this is like, I always sit there and go, so I'm now 54. And I go, do I want Jack and Ben to feel like I do about themselves that I do now? Yes. Do I want them to have the life that I have? Absolutely. I'm living my best life. I'm living my dream. I'm on purpose. I've got an amazing relationship. Can I have better? Can I be better? Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Can I love myself even more? Oh, of course I can. And I'm doing great. So yes, I feel what we need to do is stop focusing on molding our children and start focusing on what we need for us, because that's what our children are learning by. They're not listening to us. They're watching us.
Exactly right.
They don't
And
listen to us.
yeah, no, is it? But it's an interesting thing because I suppose there's kind of two things that come out of that that really stand out for me. And one of them was when my first daughter was born, she was born with a randomly occurring, as science calls it, genetic disorder. And it was a serious genetic disorder. When she was a little baby, we met a family that had a child who was like 10 years old with the same disorder.
Mhm.
And I remember the father shared this advice with me, and it was great advice. And I'm going to share it. And what it was when you have a child with a disability and you see what they have to go through in their life, the way that society treats them, the way that things are just so hard for them, there's a point where you say to yourself, I wish my child didn't have this problem.
Yeah.
And they said, well, what you're saying there is, I wish I had a different child.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time it was just like, whoa, but I have been there. And that advice has resonated for me because it's just like, you know what? They're here because they've got their own purpose. And for whatever reason, this is part of their purpose. And for me, trying to project what I want something to be completely disengages me from being present in the now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
need to get into that now. Yeah. So the second thing that it leads to is, of course, when we've been talking about this, all parental guilt, parental shame, all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, everybody's got it, and everybody's wasted opportunities. That's true. We've all done it.
Yeah.
But you change it
Exactly.
now.
Yeah.
That if you change it in yourself right now,
Mhm.
the effect in them is immediate. And you don't have to talk to people think that this is like, now I've got to do it and now I've got to teach them. It's like, no, you don't. So this is happening on an energetic and cellular level. The craziness of it, the way it works, is absolutely insane. And DNA, we have very little understanding of DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just a whole different discussion, really.
Yeah.
But the thing about DNA is that it is not linear. It's kind of spherical. It moves in all directions.
Like
I've
a
done
web,
energy.
isn't it? It's like a web.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've done energetic therapies
Actually
work.
got an etheric web on each of your pieces of DNA.
Yeah.
And you can actually take them out, place them on your left hand energetically. And if you spin anti-clockwise, you can actually remove a negative emotion and
It's
pull it out.
interesting. Yeah, there's different techniques of it, but ultimately it does the same thing.
Just taught me that one.
Yeah. It's interesting. You can remove those programs out
Yeah.
of it. Years ago, took programs out for a person in their DNA and cleared some attachment stuff that was around that. We did this session, and 2 weeks later, they rang me up and they said, "Hey, I just wanted to give you this feedback because I don't really understand what it is, but this thing that you cleared in me, and my uncle and two of his kids, it cleared in them."
Yes, true story.
Right?
You have no idea how much I hear about this, and I am
Yeah.
living proof of that with my uncle.
Yeah.
Guys, I got two stories I want to tell everybody, right? Hang on, I need to write them down. First, I'm going to tell you about my uncle. So, my uncle Peter, he's 80, amazing, amazing guy. Love him to bits. He's my mum's brother. And he took over the father role. My father left, my biological father left when I was 10 months old. And my mum and my brother are like besties. So my mum's 18 months older than my uncle. They still talk to each other like they're 10 and 8, right? It's hysterical. And they see each other like 5 times a week. They're great. I went off. Now, what I do, he never asks me about it or anything, but I'm pretty sure he listens to the podcast and he's always referring people to me, but never really asks me about it, right? Because he says to me, "Oh, you do all that woo-woo stuff, right?" And I say, "Why don't you come and see something?" No, 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 no. You just do it. You just do it. You just do it, right? So anyway, I went off. It's about 3 years ago. And I went to an event, Rose, uh,
Right.
yeah, a Vet Rose workshop in Bali. It was amazing, by the way, and it was called Reveal the Woman Within. Big shout out to Yvette Rose. Google her, she's incredible. Went off, and I don't know, it was 5 days. I don't know which day it was, but it was. I found out some stuff in our DNA and our lineage, and I did a lot of healing around my grandmother, which is my mum's and brother's mother, right? Now, my mum and my uncle had a very difficult relationship with their mother. Anyway, I've done that. I've come home. I've not said a thing. I've gone to the coffee shop. My uncle and my cousin Tom, his son, own a coffee shop and a wine bar, a wine shop in Baldwin called Ben 3. Big shout out. Go, it's amazing. I walked in. My uncle walks up to me and whispers in my ear, he goes, "Did you do some work like on me?" And I went, what he's really meaning is generational stuff, right? But it's beyond his scope. And I've gone, yeah. He goes, "Thank you." And he walked up. Now, that to me was massive freaking evidence.
Yeah.
That was the biggest evidence you could have blown me over the feather. I tell you now, I was like, it was so exciting. I mean, I've got 100 stories like that, but that to me, I think was the biggest one because he just doesn't talk about it. Whereas, my cousins and I, we're always talking about it and doing things and going off here and there and chatting about cool stuff. But that was really big for me. So this is what I mean. We got to just stay in our lane and do us.
Yeah.
Do us, do you. Okay, I've got the second story, and it's about guilt. And I may have shared it before, but it's so freaking profound to me. When I was healing from, this makes me laugh. You know, when I say when I was healing from MS, I really wasn't healing from MS. I was healing from shame.
Yeah.
Because MS, like all autoimmune diseases, are developed from shame.
Yeah.
I believe, my knowledge, my belief is that nothing bad grows in love. It can't. It's
Yeah.
impossible if you're talking about frequencies. So if you've got any dis-ease or any illness or chronic or long-term pain or anything, even if you had an accident 10 years ago, it's not from the accident. Your body heals. What you're dealing with is shame. So go see a therapist, all right? Anyway, I was at this retreat back in 2014, and I was sitting in a room. There was a whole heap of us, and it was like a scouts hall, carpeted, and it was just women. And I don't know what this woman said, but she was sharing about how she was loving her teenagers with lots of conditions. And it hit me like a ton of bricks that what I thought was good, I wasn't particular. I always thought I was a good parent, but I realized it was quite not quite. It was extremely conditional.
Mm.
So if the boys were doing well, it meant I could have a good day, right? So my nervous system relied on how well the boys were doing. So if they were sad, it meant that I'm not in a good place. So that creates not much safety for a growing child. And the boys at that stage were like 12 and 13. And so they had to people please me a lot to have connection.
Mm.
When I came home, I fell in a heap. I felt a lot of mum guilt. And I realized that I was sort of one of those erratic mums, not radical, erratic mums. I became radical after this, but I was erratic. So very, very, very loving. And then I could scream at them and yell in their faces about stuff, right? So when I came home, I sat them down. I said, I'm so sorry for doing that. I feel so bad. But I wallowed in it for 3 weeks.
Mm.
I had this really strong mum guilt and mum shame for 3 weeks. Ben. Ben is great, right? My kids, my kids, but they just tell you as it is, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
They just tell you. And that's the agreement we have. Ben comes up to me, all of 12 years of age, and says to me, do you not love me? And this is how he's talking to me. And I look, I go, what do you mean? You're like, of course I love you. He goes, do you want me to be different? I go, no. And he goes, well, you're my mother. And I am me because of the last 12 years that you parented me. Now, you wallowing in your self-pity for the last 3 weeks about how you parented me makes you think you don't love who I am today. And I just went, ah. He goes, so either get over it or get on with it.
Yep, that's it.
And I just stood there, I went, I was just doing the same shit, different font.
Yeah, exactly. New
So
identity.
new idea. So instead of screaming at them, I was still on the shitty TV program. Instead of screaming at them, I just felt sad about it now. I just felt guilty about it. So then I decided to change the channel and go into Love channel, right? And then I went, okay, well, now we're just going to parent from a different perspective. I'm still learning how to do that, by the way. And that was
It-
10 years ago.
yeah, but that's the exciting part of it. I think it's probably for me, I want this to be the takeaway for everybody from
Yeah.
this episode is that there's a concept called reparenting,
Yeah.
and it's a freaking amazing concept. It is basically you as an adult being the parent that you wish you had. And
Mm,
it's not because of what you're doing for your children. You do it because of you, and your children get to enjoy that.
yeah.
So there's a thing that we deal with energetically called ancestral trauma,
Mm,
right? Ancestral trauma and all this stuff that goes with it. And it can go back countless generations. And within it is a lot of guilt And the reason that people don't understand this, because it's such a weird thing, you can have this thought in your mind your entire life about failure and about how you haven't done things and your beliefs about stuff, and it'll manifest as physical illness and injury and circumstance and so forth. It's not even yours. It's like your great grandmother's
Yeah.
shame. One afternoon she made a decision and never got over it, or your great grandfather's. And the thing about that's so fascinating is that when you clear it, we don't think about the fact that all ancestral trauma is actually the shit that they weren't able to deal with. And we get it in our DNA. So when you start today, this is where the power is right now. Said, yeah, you might have had 20 years, or even 40 years of being a parent. I mean, I saw a sign out the front of a cafe in Hobart one time, and it said the first 40 years of childhood are the hardest, right?
Isn't it true?
That's it. And but it's that thing where we look at it and we go, oh, it's too late now.
No,
Never too late. The
no.
second you start changing in yourself, you start changing the energy. And whatever you clear is not being handed down to you. And we think, oh, but once a child's born, the genetic thing said that's not real. That's not real. That's old science, and it's not. Epigenetics is saying really not real.
Yep.
So you need to get onto the new genetic science. But the thing that's important about it is that when we make that step, yes, we need to change our behavior to our children. We have to do better, but we have to do it in ourselves because, as you said
That's
before, it's spot
what
on.
us.
They're not listening to us
Mm,
because if you think about it, say, for example, you're 10 years old for your entire life. You've watched a person act in a certain way, and then one day they get up and they decide they're not going to act like that anymore.
mhm.
You don't trust that. So why would you trust that? You have a body of evidence, right, that says that this could change any minute now. This
Mm,
person's going to go back. So we can't be doing as performative therapy on our family. We have to be going, right, I'm changing in myself.
mm.
The less you talk about it, the better. Because,
Tell nobody.
yeah, you just do it.
That's what I do. I
Yeah.
don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Your
And the
mentor,
whole,
like you can tell your mentor, like that's who you're sharing it with, but literally just tell nobody.
yeah, don't tell anyone else because talk's cheap,
That's
right? And we just let it permeate.
yeah.
So, with that, the most important thing I think is really about managing vacuums. When you stop doing something, you're going to create a vacuum.
Yeah.
This is what I used to do. So my automatic response is, I need to reach for a cigarette, or I need to get angry at this point, or I need to, sit on the couch and watch TV for 4 hours at this point. Said, or hand a kid an iPad. Said, that is what I used to do. If I'm going to change that, I can't just stop handing them an iPad. I have to actually do something else. Otherwise, I create a vacuum and it'll pull in something of an equal thing. The example at the beginning.
It usually, so the unconscious mind will always go to what is familiar because it means it doesn't have to overwork. It just goes, oh, that's familiar. So
Yeah,
whenever we're releasing something, this is my, trauma brain coming through knowledge is, and my hypnosis training, whenever we release something, we have to replace it with something
yeah, absolutely.
right away.
Yeah,
Right. So don't ever sit there and go, I'm just not going to bite my nails. Well, what are you going to do instead?
yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
And that's the thing. If I'm not going to do this, what am I going to do instead? If I'm not going to scream at the kids, what am I going to do instead? If I'm not going to be nervous about flying, well, what are you going to do instead? And
that's
yeah,
exactly right.
it's so true because that's what Jason's talking about, the vacuum. The vacuum is you'll just suck something in, and
Yeah,
the unconscious mind will always go to what's familiar.
yeah, that's right. You just replace it with another version of itself,
Yes,
basically.
we need to come out of the frequency. This is one of the things. This is why I can get someone to stop smoking before they even come and see me. It's so funny. I sit there and I say to them, I go, if you're not smoking, what are you doing? And they go, oh, I don't know, I might be drinking water, but how are you feeling about yourself?
Hmm.
Well, I won't be feeling guilty about not smoking. And I already know they're still in the guilt frequency. How do I know it? Because they're still talking about it.
Yeah,
And then I say, well, if you're not feeling guilty about not smoking, how would you like to feel about yourself instead? And they go, oh, oh my God, I can actually feel good about myself. There you go. Now we've just changed the channel.
Yeah.
Here's the secret sauce, everyone. You got to think, speak, feel, and action, like do what you want, not what you don't want.
Yeah. Always focus on what it is you want to create.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
if we sit here and go, do not think of a black cat, what are you thinking of? You're thinking of a black cat. So if you sit there and go, I don't want to feel anxious. I don't want to be jittery. You're going to be. You're going to be anxious and you're going to be jittery because you're still in agreement with those words and that frequency. Well, if you don't want to feel that, what do you want to feel instead? If you don't want to be a guilty parent, what do you want to spend your time on instead? And here's the clincher. Are you ready? Does it feel safe for you to step into something better for yourself?
Yeah.
Does
It's,
it feel safe for you? And are you supported by it?
yeah. It's where you start. That sometimes it's easier for us to look at our kids than look at ourselves.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah. So if you look at your children, just pick one thing that you want for them. Pick one thing that you want for them, and then make it your business to be creating that as your experience. If you want your child to be able to relax when they come home, you want them to eat well, you want to, it's that thing about the McDonald's example from the beginning where you're saying, can I have McDonald's? My youngest daughter has never done that. And the reason that she's never done that is that she's just been eating clean.
But
So,
she's in the frequency of health.
yeah. And she's the healthiest person I know,
That's
right?
great.
So, but she's just constantly in that. I mean, her biggest problem is like cucumber supply. She's like, can we get cucumber? Because she's like, even as a little kid, she's walking around with a whole cucumber. Like, rah, rah, rah,
That's so
rah.
great.
It's
It's
so
so
funny.
good.
Pick those things. We watch those behaviors, particularly those behaviors that frustrate us, like
Yeah.
the kids nagging and that. What they're telling you is that you're disengaged from this part of your life
Yeah.
and you need to bring it into attention. So
Yeah.
don't say to your kids, no, you can't have McDonald's. Give them something because give them what you want them to have. If they're hungry, that's one thing. If they want an experience, that's something else. So a lot of that stuff is not about the fact that they want something to eat, because often it's always the same argument, isn't it? It's like, oh, there's food in the esky in the car. And it's like, no, no, no.
A lot about McDonald's. It's not about the burger. It's about the experience they used to have as little kids. Because
Yeah,
you know, a lot of parents used to take on a Friday night, it would be Happy Meal night. And it'd be the family be sitting when they were really little, and you'd be sitting there like, oh, look, it's a chicken nugget. And the kid's like 3 and eating. You know, the child remembers how they felt in that moment. It's
yeah,
not they love the chicken nugget. And it's what Jason is saying here is spot on. What they're looking for is the connection and an experience and the joy and the happiness with the family. That's why you can keep buying the Maccas on a Friday night. You can go to the drive-through and go, here's your Maccas, but they'll still crave the Maccas, not because of the McDonald's, but because they're craving the connection and the happiness that they felt when they were 3.
yeah. That's exactly right. And if you bring that
Create that.
connection in,
You can create that in any stage. We have a Sunday lunch. We have a Sunday roast or a Sunday night roast. So that's why Jason does these amazing, amazing online things on a Sunday night. And I often can't go because that Sunday night
yeah,
is roast night. And we sit there and just the 4 of us and we laugh and we chat and it's Sunday night. If I try and make that a Wednesday night, it's never the same.
yeah, that's right.
It just
That's not how
hasn't
it's
got
set up.
mustard. It's a Sunday night thing. Yeah,
It's
it's
a
fine.
ritual.
It's a
Yeah,
ritual, and that's what they're looking for. And I've tried it before. I've gone, let's go out for dinner on a Sunday night. They go, no,
yeah,
they don't want to go out for dinner. They want home. They want their roast. They want
yeah.
and it's the same freaking roast every Sunday night. Like, I mean, we're not talking about one night we might do a barbecue. No, I don't want a barbecue. I want the roast because it's the experience that they're anchored to that experience.
That's right. Yeah, and which we all are. So yeah,
So
bring
if
it
you're
into yourself.
carrying guilt, stop it.
That's right.
That's it. And swap it. Stop it
Well,
and swap it. There's a good book coming out on that.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yes, it's called Stop It, Swap It from yours truly. And Jason, is there anything else you want to share before we sign off?
No, that's all good. But
Okay.
yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. Please, you know the drill. Jump on YouTube, jump on the website, say hi. We've got so many amazing, incredible workshops that is there for you to delve in deeper into things from Jason and I. We also do personal mentoring. So we're here to help you guys. We are here to help. We'll speak to you soon. We'll see you later. And if you want us to talk about anything on a podcast, just please email me, Emma@emmaromano.com.au. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.